Um, I don't know what else to say right now, so I'm not gonna be saying a whole bunch of stuff. But I will make sure to turn on a quick light switch. And so, welcome. I'm Inside Shabella Moore. I am on here today to talk about a few things when it comes to dealing with God siblings. So, I enjoy God siblings. I don't know if anybody else has ever had the pleasure or experience of really trying to figure out what that relationship was like. Myself, I've always had a really close relationship, so I'm definitely here for it. I think they are fun, and I really believe it really builds on relationships. Sometimes we are not very relationship oriented, like that's not one of the goals. So I have moments where, as I built our company myself on my own with some of the issues that took place, I built relationships. I found how to hang out downtown. I had a real life goal in mind of just being able to say, yeah, the spot that I really love down the street, City Tap, is like maybe a block or two away. If we're ever on lunch, let's stop by over here. And those were real thoughts. And also, it was a very nice form of marketing because word of mouth. We always are like, well, what do you know about City Tap? What don't I know about City Tap? They have great tap. It's a very social place. And I'm always kind of sort of amazed, right? Not just that it's something that we can really recommend, but actually how quickly it came into manifestation. And sometimes you will see, as you all know, you will run into people who are like, oh, whatever, that's not a big deal. Or, you're not really going to do this or you're not going to do that. But nonetheless, where are those people at? So you have to take a quick inventory, and not just of physical goods, not just of products, and I mean a physical inventory of who is literally around you when you need help. Take count. So as I was looking into building our office, which was downtown, I realized that there was a relationship here. It was a young guy who was coming in, and we chit chatted a bit about adoption, and he gave me a nice tour around everything of where I could find the trash disposals or where the restrooms were, and how I was able to figure out what the key fobs, how to kind of sort of make sure everything worked properly. If I need to put in a maintenance request, if there was anything that really was a good to know issue that might even crop up at any point in given in this particular time frame, I knew about it. So that was something that I always thought was a really great way to build a relationship. Well, if I had to figure out what's your credit score, if I had to figure out what is some kind of information that they need, like an employee identification number, if they're asking you in order to build this relationship, I prefer having a reputable answer. And that's how you can kind of sort of manifest and expand and build. Because again, if we are constantly around people who only want to necessarily destroy and not really replace, I don't care for that. I don't think that that's really I personally don't believe that. I'm not believing that's a personal opinion that's going to help us scale our businesses. I need somebody that's going to take the time out to build a relationship to, so I can, let's say I got to use the restroom. I'm a girl, so I have to use it more. So girls, we just do these things. And so if I have to use the restroom and I'm not sure where to go, there's no relationship there. Or I give you another example. If I have to use the restroom and somebody's badgering me, thank you for the like, I appreciate it. There's no relationship, especially not one that's sustainable. And as we want to cultivate the scaling quarters, we want them to sustain the test of time, to sustain the durability of what we're thinking about. I want us to be able to figure out why we have the relationships that we do when you're not even helping us. There's no point. Thank you for the like. There's no purpose. Like and subscribe. You can visit our website. I'll put the link below if you're interested in more coaching about how to kind of sort of build these relationships. But nonetheless, when we are really focused, I mean, just think about it. If you're a thought leader and you have somebody in your presence who's constantly heckling you, are you going to turn to them for coaching? No. It's going to be a point where you're going to say, I needed you and you didn't pull through. I needed you to realize that I had to do something quite seriously and you didn't do those things. You're going to hit those kind of glass ceilings, if you will. Y'all know how y'all say. So you got the glass ceiling and you breaching it and you're going to help me pull it through, and then boom, you coming at me and you're saying something. So you didn't help me crack the glass ceiling so I can reach the next level that we needed. That's not somebody I'm going to go to. That's not the person that needs more confidence. The person that needs more confidence is the person who's going to pull you up so that you don't lose them in the midst of what's taking place because somebody's so busy pestering you. So that's where we kind of sort of make the disconnects at. we struggle with being able to find that confidence and just going forward with the people who really are helpful. So those people who really help us figure out how to get to the next points, like your God siblings. And it can be your God siblings, it can be bosses. I had a boss that was so great. Oh my God. Every time I turned around her, if anybody wants to know what her name was Elizabeth Martello. And she was a real Italian lady. I mean, just as suave. She had her hair just long, flowy, just a very kind woman. And I never forget, there were so many times where I got gifts, Christmas, birthdays, all kind of baskets, lunches, different spots in Lakewood, Tremont. I mean, there's moments and times where I got rides. She was able to put me on to things that nobody else taught me. There were moments where I go, and she passed away now, so God rest her soul. I still go to her gravesite. I say hi. I talk to her. I let her know that I think about you. I got so upset when I first found out that she had actually kicked the bucket, if you will. And I didn't know what to do with myself. I was throwing stuff. I was upset that she passed away, that she died. Oh, I can't believe it. And it just seemed so cruel at this particular point in time. But I still built those connections. So can you imagine being with somebody who did none of those things? There's no connection to build. There's no relationship there. I give you another example. There was a time where I was trying to figure out some things in life. I didn't know what to do. So what I did was I went out on an interview, and somebody was just saying, what's the worst that could happen? You could get a job offer. Totally true. So I went out there, I chit-chatted. There was no offer, but I got practice. I got to realize that you are not somebody who's going to help me in a time of need to break this glass ceiling. But somebody else who did and was the very next stop. Kid you not. The very next stop, and I had it all written out and planned. I just needed an opportunity. If I couldn't find an opportunity because I was so busy trying to figure out what this lady was going to give at this particular point in time, whether it was a job offer, some kind of practices that just expanded the test of time, there was never going to be nothing else to go to. Because I was so focused on dealing with somebody else's ideas of what's best for what I think about. How was that going to be a thought leader? The thought leading says, okay, you're not helpful. Let's leave. Let's go to a place that is. That's where the thoughts are that actually leads us into scaling and breaking the glass ceilings. So that's where you want to concentrate and put most of your time and effort into those energy, building those relationships that help you scale your business because they care and they love you. That's where you scale your businesses. That's why you're as successful as you are. And so again, I want you all to focus on that. I want you to focus on building relationships with people who help you. God siblings are people who are supposed to help you. God siblings are people who think about you on your birthdays. God peoples are people who are there for you when they say, oh, you turned 36, 38, 39, happy birthday. Thank you for stepping out your time frame. I know you busy. I know we got so much going on, but you still chose to wish somebody else a happy birthday. I give you another example. It was LinkedIn, and I was so upset. I didn't know how this birthday was going to turn out, and I just figured that nobody cared about my birthday. Just went on and on. I was just upset that this is how it is. This is the funniest birthday, and just going on. I put up some apps. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, after text, after text, after text. And I say, oh, what? So happy. So happy. And you sow those things. But did the people who really chose not to help you break the glass ceilings, were they there? Mind you, no. But the people who were made all the differences in the world. I give you another example. The other day I was out and about. We had some coffee lacking here, and I didn't know what to do. So I went out and about. I went to a shed where I was working at. I went in. Hey, I want to buy a cup of coffee. Oh, our cash machine is down. We only accepting cash. Only got a debit card. Damn. Okay, so I can't stay there. So I leave. I didn't know what to do. Now I'm thinking I'm gonna be stuck. I'm gonna be hungry forever. Ain't gonna be nothing to do. I'm gonna die. Like I'm freaking out. And so I go into a different spot, and lo and behold, I get to go there. Their machine is up. They're 10 feet apart from one another. They're literally 10 freaking steps, feels like, from one to the next. And it's just like, what in the world? Why is certain things that easy to just turn somebody else away from? Just go head on this way, even though I'm not asking you a single thing about being able to do nothing else like these type of points and these pain points necessarily, so to speak. But yet that's what you can keep pushing towards. And you just push and push and push. And Jay-Z says this so well. He'll specifically say, and thank you all for the likes, and make sure that you like and subscribe. You repeat, pushing repeatedly until I reach the edge. And once I'm at the edge, then I take a leap of faith and I let my eagle wings spread. And then he'll scream out with the thought was that he had to express, which was have been F y'all. And so he went ahead and he chose to head jump and he landed successfully. Period. Simple. Success breeds more success. Losses breed more losses. If we don't learn from them, they're going to continue. So now I can easily say I'm pissed at the world, or you ain't got no coffee for me, or you got an issue with what I'm doing. And that's why your machine broke. Oh, I'm taking it personally. And do you see how quickly, and I'm not saying that this is not true. I'm not saying that these things are not necessarily something that makes this scenario easily done or easy to accomplish either. I don't want nobody to feel like coaching is easy or changing our thoughts is easy. I don't want people to deceive themselves into thinking like this. I really want you to focus. I really want you to be able to hear what your thoughts are and figure out what is going on. I'm sorry to hear that you twisted your ankle. I hope that you feel better. Sometimes it really does kind of sort of help to kind of sort of maybe elevate and make your kind of sort of little bit off of whatever's taking place, because sometimes we just need to take a break. It's not even about just keep going head on when you no sit down for a second and then you can continue move and do whatever else that is in your goal for that day. But sometimes we push ourselves to the extreme of limits, like myself. That's why I keep giving you all these same examples. You can continuously push and push and push, but sometimes people are really ready. They really are not as like being so into whatever else, but some of them can be. I'm not going to tell you that they not, because that's just going to be something that you have to experience for yourselves. But I can't allow you to experience that per se, because some of them are a bit much. I mean, the same time, I never forget, they were just constantly, it's just a constant issue. It's a repeated thing. And so eventually you do lose, as you can tell. I'll go to somewhere else and they'll be helpful and they'll be willing to say, hi, how are you? And I'll tip you and I give in return, because no one else is doing it. No one else has taken out that time frame. So can you imagine that relationship there? That's a positive strength. And you can't allow what's not taking place to keep you from that. You're not going to be able to scale and be able to kind of sort of, and I don't want us to ever feel like that what somebody else did. And I will never say that. Never, ever, 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 ever. I will never do it. Ever. I would rather lay down my life before I ever say anything other than that. But the people who are so kind to us, we have to remember them. We have to think about them. We have to. Because without them, we're going to perish. We're not going to allow what other people do when it's really something that's helpful and beneficial to just be forgetting about. Nobody in their right mind seriously takes what somebody else is doing that's pushing us further from a goal seriously. I have seen many of videos online. I think maybe even from, I want to say from some men that actually know that this is actually a thing that women admire. Women really like being taken seriously. And I am at that particular kind of sort of like, there's nothing else to say at that point in time. When you really know that what you got is a profitable and you don't have no issue with nobody else, and there's nothing that nobody else can say that they can bring it the same way that you did, that there's a person and persona there that's going to really help you be put on, and you know for a fact that that's what's coming up the road, and you know for a fact that these are the things that you're giving, that what you are cultivating, and that's what you pursued and give off as you're illuminating your presence, and they understand these things. And as you continuously give off that type of energy, there's no need to even entertain those people that continuously just go ahead on and push you off and say those ideas. It's really not that important at this point in time. What's crucial is understanding that they serve their purpose. And that purpose is just to give you content. The purpose is just to be able to let you know what people really be on. The purpose can be just to be able to put something inside of something that allows you to share those things with other people, so now they put on. It's really just nothing no more than that. People really can kind of sort of inflate. They can really kind of sort of drag things out to what is happening, but doesn't even necessarily need to be something that's seriously even taking place, because they're not worth that energy. And people, and as the example goes, let's do this. Well, okay. So the perfect example is really simple. And you put this energy into where you did. And I'm going to ask a very simple question. Okay, useful or no? If the answer is yes, then you've won. Okay, but its opposite is true as well. When it's not, you've lost something. You've lost an ability to come across as reputable. That's number one. Okay, so when we have relationships, we can either be reputable or we can either come across as being a person that's unreliable in your resources, as wasteful. So relationships can be either reputable or we're going to do wasteful, or a type of feeling that you're kind of unreliable. Unreliable. I'm going to give wasteful. And then also when you are, we'll give it as reputable. Reputable. Pick wisely. Choose the right course of action. Stick to it. As we love to say, consistency is definitely where it is. So, and consistently prove yourself reputable. Because if you're not, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to continuously prove yourself to be unreliable too. Because you choose to waste energy. And as they say, you only attract more of like. Only in nature is it that opposites attract. And law of success, like attracts like. Keep that in mind. So again, if you want more coaching, I'm going to put the link in the description box and you can find it there. But again, so it's definitely been something that's been fun. And girlies, we love to have fun. Girls just want to have fun. Like this closet that y'all see now was not always like this. This closet was horrid. This is a closet from like 1920. So the fact that this was something else and it just was totally, how can I explain it? Something that I just dreaded. Like as the example with the lady up the street from the Shell. I mean, can you imagine going into a place, your heart is set. Okay, this is like the organ center. So you constantly have everything that flows is from one space throughout your entire up 9, 10, 112, whatever, however many goes on in one particular space. And nothing else is able to make a move without this particular entity whatsoever. And that's so, Alexis says this so honestly, she says this so often, women are just so freaking divine. That's what she calls it. She says that we're just so divine. We can give life, we can just do all of these beautiful problems and pieces and solves with our bodies, and can't nobody else do this, and men aren't able to do none of these things, and we're just so divine, and we're just, oh my goodness, and this just all about our heart. And you know, he may got a heart but he ain't got harder. You know, take heart. And take heart means you're very courageous. You're not afraid to express your thoughts. You're unafraid of giving off your authentic glow. You're unafraid of being authentic with those who are around you. You're unafraid of being able to say what's on your mind. You're unafraid to actually think your thoughts and then articulate them. You're unafraid of what is the consequences behind those actions. You're unafraid of what people say based off what you've chosen to share with them. You're unafraid of how people choose to conduct themselves after they went ahead and experienced what it is that you have to say. You're unafraid of how those ideas are really going to permeate and make people really think. You're going to be unafraid of allowing them to see you. You're unafraid of it because we're just alike. There's so many times that people just hide and isolate and they don't want nobody to see you. They don't want that type of interaction with one another. They don't want that. And it reminds me of a book from Stephen Speaks, I want to say is his name. And he says, why would the devil want that? Why would the devil want two people who are meant to be together to be together? Why? Why is the devil? And now you got to think of the she devils. And you have all of these problems and all of these things that we create because we're so creative. We really are powerful. And our heart is set on things, and it devastates us when we feel like we can't get them. And it does. I never forget, as I was walking out and I was getting ready to go and do something, my heart set, I'm moving along, and then here comes so-and-so. I'm like, ah! And it's immediate. And what do? You don't resonate. You don't feel reputable. You allow. So what's reputable is allowing someone to experience what they're thinking about without interrupting them with intent. That's reputable. And when you have reputable intent, then you have moments where you scale your business and your quarters. And my ladies, y'all know girls want to have fun. How we gonna have fun if we ain't got no coins? How we gonna have fun if we so busy going at one another's necks or isolating ourselves? We can't go out nowhere. We can't experience the beaches or the family members. They got some clout going on and we have a chance to experience it because we didn't put that time in. We are going to miss out out on so many things when we allow ourselves to be isolated, to allow ourselves to become so warped with what other people have going on that we choose to neglect ourselves. The very presence that we need to allow ourselves to scale our businesses, we throw out as though they mean absolutely nothing. This is how we can really conduct ourselves with a loss. This is why we're losing. We're losing our battle because we are not allowing ourselves to build up other women. We tear other women apart to shred. Cinderella. Just think of the sisters that are there. They just ripped her apart. They took her and all the things that they perceived that she took from them, and they just picked it and picked it and picked it till there was nothing left. And that's what we do to one another. The guy, I don't know whoever said this quote, but it had to be one of y'all. And the quote was that instead of learning, I want to say that they chose to kind of did something derogatory to this person. That's what we do. Same thing with Cinderella. That's all that we choose to do. And so because you did that, are you really going to say with a bold, straight face that we're going to reach out to you? I mean, there's no human being that wants to be around a person that chooses to interfere with things that does not belong or have anything to do with you, but you do it anyway. There's no way. What's proper is scaling your business, setting the example, and allowing other people to make the decision for themselves. That's a boss female. That's a boss babe. A boss female is unafraid to lead by example. And that's just what it is. That's something that has put us on, especially as females. There's no point in time where, and this is Cinderella speaking of, if anybody doesn't know what Cinderella is. This is Cinderella in all its beautiful glory. But yeah, and so I just don't want anybody to come out and not really have moments where, please understand, you definitely need to have fun. I'll give you an example. I'm out and about. I wanted to travel. I wanted to have content recorded that was in a different space that gave off fun energy. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Nobody. And what's worse, nobody has to. And nobody who really wants to scale their own businesses wants them to. So you can't allow yourself to isolate but still want to have fun. You're going to kind of sort of have to pick and choose. And that's why I say choose wisely. Because once it's chosen, this is something that our brand space's father used to say, that you have to make your choices and live by it. We all do. And that's just what it is. People don't want to step up, then okay, isolate. But is that the wisest choice in my own opinion? No. It's not. And we all know that it's not. But we cannot allow those entities who choose those things to deter us from what we have got going on. How are we going to set the proper example if that's what we choose to do? We're not. And it's really just as simple as that. So, God siblings, yes, I recommend, I encourage, and do so with some kind of discernment. You know, just kind of understand who they are and what they present and what they bring, and have fun and keep your relationships reputable. I mean, I think that's it for today, y'all. I don't know what else to say. I gotta brush my teeth, so I'm gonna go and do that. And I'll see y'all soon. Bye. Oh.